Before we start today's show, we want to invite you to stick around at the end of the episode to enjoy a preview of a new podcast that premieres on July 14th. As the industry's exclusive cannabis podcast network, MJBulls is proud to present Women Leading in Cannabis. Join host Kira Reed each week for inspirational discussions with women who are leading the cannabis industry.
We're not just depending on the harvest in October, November to create revenue for this year. We're going to create revenue much, much earlier because we are going to have seeds ready that will be purchased. And we also have a clone program.
From MJBulls Media, it's the Raising Cannabis Capital Show. Today on Raising Cannabis Capital, we are joined by Jeffrey Yarosz, CEO of 4T Holdings, and Eric Kirkland, the CFO and General Counsel. Guys, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Well, it's fun to have two people on the show. This is great. But let's jump right into it. With the passing of the Farm Bill at the end of 2018, which effectively made hemp legal, it's created this unprecedented demand for hemp. I mean, farmers can't grow it fast enough. And 4T Holdings is in Oregon. And Jeffrey, you've been growing hemp for a couple of years already. So unlike a lot of the farmers that are jumping in now, you're in a state, it was already legal. You're already growing it. So you have a huge jump on the field.
Yes, we feel that we saw the legalization coming for quite a while now. And with that, we were able to put together an excellent team on the business side and an excellent team on the cannabis side to really prepare for this year and next year, which we feel are going to be really great years for our company.
Can you talk a little bit about your team?
You know, maybe if I could drop in on that one, because I have seen it develop, and we started talking 6, 7, 8 months ago, and he was telling me, here's the team that he's put together and why. And when I saw and he described the team, I was pretty blown away. And I think that is the real big distinguishing point. I mean, it's more than just the equipment. It's more than just the genetics. It's just more than just finding the best farmland and all the other things that you have to do well. It's really having a team that can execute at scale. It takes a village, and he's put together a really great team.
The one ingredient that sometimes is lacking is the talent that's running. Well, and you've done it with 40 acres for a few years now, and now it's not just planting it, which is super difficult. It's harvesting it. This is a different crop than really people that have experience doing it. They're not alive any longer, because this hasn't been harvested for a long time.
That's true. We've really put a lot of R&D into mechanizing the planning process. We have custom seeding that was university tested. Our genetics are really tailored to the area we're growing in. There's going to be a lot of people trying to grow this when they hear how much it's worth an acre. A lot of them don't know that it costs about $20,000 an acre to do it, but they're going to hear the margin on that, which is unbelievable. And the thing is our genetics are climatized for the area we're growing. If you took our seeds and tried to grow them in Virginia or Florida or Texas or North Dakota, you wouldn't get the same yield, you wouldn't get the same results. We have custom transplanting from a company out of Italy, and we're actually have a custom harvesting company who's going to be running about 3 different prototypes on our early crop to get it right for the big harvest, to really be able to grab the buds and preserve them. And up until this point, there has not been anything on the market that can really do that. They're taking combines, they're going out, they're cutting them by hand, and we're just not going to do that because we're doing a lot of acreage, and you just cannot do it that way.
All that comes from experience, and I'm going to jump you ahead here, but you mentioned earlier just how insanely profitable this is. But just give our listeners an idea of what biomass right now. First off, explain to them what biomass is, and then what you can expect in the value of this
So biomass for most of the industry is going to be the whole plant. The whole plant, though, does not contain cannabinoids, in the most popular one being CBD. The CBD is mostly concentrated in the buds of the plant. We are going to be concentrating on harvesting just the buds, so we get a higher concentration of CBD. Why is it important to get a higher concentration of CBD? Because CBD is priced by percentage points. So in other words, if I were to hit 14 percentage points, I'd get 350 times 14, which would be, you're going to make me do some quick mental math here.
That's okay. I get the picture. Yeah.
One thing that I'm seeing is that there's going to be a constraint in the amount of extraction that's going to be available in the marketplace, just because the cannabis marijuana industry is something that people kind of gauge in pounds. We're talking about tons here. So the equipment is going to be different that does the extraction. And these extractors, if you are extracting 7% biomass, you're going to have to run it through the same process to yield 7% as if you started with 20% biomass. You're going to get roughly three times more with the same amount of effort. So the extractors don't want to do this whole plant. The focus that Jeffrey has done is saying, let's just take the buds. It's going to be very valuable because of how easy and how productive it will be to extract.
I gotcha. And Jeffrey, just ballpark, 11,000 acres. How many pounds are we talking here?
We're talking anywhere between 2,000 to 4,000 pounds of dry biomass per acre.
Holy cow. That's crazy. And that's not
You do not get those yields in a lot of other places, but in Southern Oregon, that's par for the course.
Well, you've done your homework and you know it. And those aren't your only income streams. You have potential to sell the seeds that you guys have created, and you also can sell the flower. Explain those two channels. Sure. and give us an idea and a forecast for what they can expect from those two channels.
Sure. So we have a number of seed projects currently. We have what are called feminized seeds. That just means the majority of the seeds are female, because you want to plant females when you're going for biomass, because they produce the larger buds and the higher yield. We have a feminized seed project. We have a regular seed project. Our first turn through those projects, we're expecting 280 pounds of feminized seeds. Feminized seeds are going for $28,000 a pound currently. Our two regular seed projects, we're expecting about $8 million from our first strand and about 50,000 pounds from our other strain. Regular seeds are still selling for between $2,000 to $10,000 a pound. We're not just depending on the harvest in October, November to create revenue for this year. We're going to create revenue much, much earlier, because we are going to have seeds ready that will be purchased. And we also have a clone program selling between $5 to $15 a piece. You can run the math on all those numbers, and it's pretty eye-popping.
I stopped keeping count a while ago because I said the number's too big. Oh my gosh! Congratulations! That is so exciting.
Thank
but
you.
the problem right now, though, is that this is moving so fast. Like you cannot take your time on this one. Like I think I read someplace. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're going to start planting in a couple weeks. Is that the case?
Next week.
Oh my gosh! So, as you mentioned, $20,000 per acre. This is not an inexpensive venture to get started, but I mean, the other side of this is so profitable. What are you doing right now to raise capital? Maybe give our listeners an idea how they can get involved.
Jeffrey, maybe I'll drop in on this one. We've already raised quite a bit of money to date. All the equipment has been paid for either by the principals or money that has come in. The seeds are paid for. The clones are paid for. We're looking at the end of the year, needing the capital to do the harvest, to do the curing and the different things, and to take advantage of some of the opportunities that just come along.
So how much are you raising right now?
The initial offering is 10. I think that we're at a point we're going to close it out with about $2 more million is where we're going to close the offering. We're looking at investors at about $200,000 as a minimum. We've made a few exceptions if the people have some strategic value beyond the capital.
Mm-hmm.
But we're looking about for 5 to 10 good investors in the $200,000 to $400,000 range, to come in and participate.
It sounds like a really good deal. I can't imagine that it's going to sit for very long.
Just to kind of jump in on that point, under this particular offering, if it goes toward projection, you would have a return of your capital probably within 6 months.
Well, that's unheard of. That's what I'm saying. That's why I think it's such a unique deal. You have two things going. One is, and this is the big one, is that you have a small window because in 5 years from now, probably the opportunity won't be there. Probably in 2 years, this opportunity won't be there. But for the next 2 years, you guys are going to be in a great position.
I really do agree with that because, the equipment is not out there, so there's no companies that can really scale big acreage. But within a couple of years, that problem will be solved. There will be a big increase in the amount of it being cultivated. I tell you, the explosion of the industry, no one, including me, could foresee how big CBD is getting. Nobody saw the broad-based use of CBD is going to be in toothpaste and pancake mix and gummies and tinctures and lotions and hair tonics. I mean, it is going to be ubiquitous.
You're not the first person that said it, and I've just seen it explode over the last 6 or 7 years. So, well, we've been speaking with Jeffrey Yarosz and Eric Kirkland from 4T Holdings, and we have all of their contact information and investor information on the MJBulls website. Jeff and Eric, thanks for being on the show today.
Thank you very much.
Tell me, boy, you make me so bored. You need to walk the other way. I tell you once more. Please get out of my way. I don't want you no more. We're done here, boy. I know you think you're so fine, but you can't see it. I've been wanting to
Hi, my name is Kira Reed, and I'd like to invite you to be inspired by the women who are leading in the cannabis industry. Each week, we will discuss empowerment, leadership, and what it means to be a woman in charge in marijuana, hemp, and CBD. As the founder of the Women Empowered in Cannabis community, I have had the great pleasure to get to know many brilliant and talented women who are CEOs, executives, politicians, advocates, and community leaders that are focused on creating a cannabis economy that is just, fair, and equal. We'll learn how these women make decisions, how they navigate a predominantly male industry, and what they're doing to level the playing field for women. I hope you'll join us.